Yo, what's going on guys? HexyTCG here, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be going over the Hellish Tornado deck, aka the Terrible Tornado and Hellish Blizzard Sisters, or if you want to also call them the Esper Sisters. Pretty much it's just going to be another yellow deck. It's also going to be a rushing type of deck, so if you like to be a bit aggro in the beginning, take your opponent's life as fast as possible to get that win, this may be the deck for you. Personally, for me, I honestly might stick with this deck a lot myself once it comes out because I have had a lot of fun with it on Cardboard Kitsune and just watching other people play with it as well. But let's go ahead and get into it like we usually do. Start out with the lower cost, get up to the higher cost raid triggers as well, and then we'll get to the events, sites, and action points. Alright, so to start us off, we're going to be running 4 of these 0-1 Terrible Tornadoes. It's going to have a get trigger, just a vanilla base as well. So if you pull it from life, you get to add it to your hand, and she's going to also have 1500 BP for you. If you place her on your energy line, she's going to go ahead and generate that 1 energy for you as well. We'll be running 4 of those just so we can have some 0 triggers, or 0 cost energies. Next 0 cost is going to be 0-1 Hellish Blizzard, the other sister. When played, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. She's also going to have a draw trigger if she comes out of your life. She's going to give you 1500 BP, and then also generate 1 energy for you as well. We're going to be running 4 of her as well. Usually I'd like to run at least 10 to 12 0 cost energies, and so at least with this deck for right now, I'll be running just 10, just because I wanted to see what I could do with the rest of the deck so far. I might push it back up to 12 and see how it goes, but let's go ahead and get into our last 0 cost. It's going to be 0-1 Moomin Rider. He's going to have a activate main, switch him to resting once per turn. This character gains energy generation at the end of the main phase, sideline this character until the end of the turn. So pretty much going to be that usual 0 cost card that you see in most decks. If you switch it to resting, or you're going to have to go ahead and get rid of it after that turn. So that way you can at least help yourself push up to energy when you really need it. But yeah, we're only going to be running 2 of these. I don't feel like I need more than 2, but if I get any 0 cost cards, I might switch him out. I only threw him in just because I wanted to give myself that chance. If I need an extra boost in energy really quick, or somewhere mid game or late game, I can at least use him if he comes up. And so yeah, that's going to be all of our 0 costs. Let's go ahead and jump into the 1 energy. It's going to be 1-1 Hellish Blizzard. When played, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 yellow card with 3 or less required energy among them. Then you get to add it to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. If the revealed card is an event card though, you get to place it into your sideline instead. So usually you'll go ahead, search the top however many cards within any deck, but with this deck, you get to go ahead and at least put anything that literally is 3 energy or less into your hand. So pretty much almost everything that's in our deck right now we'll be able to throw back into our hand. Only things we can't throw back into our hand is going to be our raid triggers down here, but we'll get into that soon. But if that card that we reveal, or if that card that we chose is at least if it's at least an event card, then we have to go ahead and sideline it instead. So you're going to want to go ahead and at least choose a character, unless you want to go ahead and throw away an event. Only time I would say that like you should or could throw away an event is if it's something like Let's Go, or if you go ahead and throw in Hero, or even the Esper Sisters. I don't think, yeah, you can't, I wouldn't say throw in Psychic Power because with the raid trigger we'll go over later, you won't be able to bring that back if you decide to throw it away. But yeah, honestly, out of all the events that we have, you could go ahead and throw any of these 3 into the sideline because you'll be able to pull them back out. But we'll go over how you can do that soon. To continue talking about Hellish Blizzard, she's going to have 2000 BP and generate 1 energy for you on the energy line. I like this character. I don't want to have 4. I'm going to keep it at 3 for right now. I think that's going to be a decent number for Hellish Blizzard. But we're only going to have that 1 energy card. Next card that we're going to have is going to be the 2-1 Hellish Blizzard. If this character is active, it gains energy generation. So pretty much just like in every deck, there's always going to be that 1 card that's 2-1. Whenever it's rested, it's only going to be 1 energy, but the moment it's active, it's going to give you 2. We're going to be running 3 of her because it's going to help us at least land as another target for our trigger, or for our raid trigger, I mean. She's also going to have 2500 BP, and like I said, generate 1 energy for you. If she's rested, once she's active, generate 2. Next card's going to be the 2-1 Terrible Tornado. If she is on your front line, Hellish Blizzard, her sister, the cards on your field cannot be chosen by your opponent's character or trigger abilities. I think that's honestly pretty good. But just to give us some more options within this deck to have more of either Hellish Blizzard or Terrible Tornado, I'm only going to have at least 2 of her. Because normally if I at least from what I've experimented with on Cardboard Kitsune, if I normally had more than at least 2 of these Terrible Tornadoes, I would normally try to push them up to the front line or play them to the front line, depending on whatever the situation may be. And because they see, obviously, if she's on the front line, that's going to be one of the main targets, because as long as she's up there, she just literally, or you just can't target the your other opponent's characters with triggers or character abilities. So they normally go ahead and get rid of her, and because of that, I'm only going to stay with at least 2. But she is going to have a draw triggers if she comes out of your life, and then she's also got 3000 BP and generates 1 energy for us. Next card that we have is going to be the 3. Oops, sorry, my bad. Next card we're going to have is the 3/1 Terrible Tornado again. But during your turn, if you use an event card this turn, this character gains 1000 BP. It's got the active trigger, so you get to go ahead and switch your character on your field to active, and then it gains 3000 BP until the end of the turn. She's got 3000 BP and generates 2 energy for us as well. I'm going to be running 4 of these because I really like the during your turn part of her ability, because it's already pretty much like a free 4K. In my opinion, I'd say it's kind of like Yuji from Blue JJK, where it's the one where he's got the green hoodie. I'll try to remember to put a picture of that card up here on the screen when I go back to edit. But pretty much, just like Yuji, with the Sukuna's fingers, like as long as you have at least 1 Sukuna's finger during your opponent's turn, he goes from 3000 to 4000 BP. But instead, with this Terrible Tornado, it's always going to be during your own turn. If you at least use an event card during your turn, she's going to go up to 4K. And I personally plan to at least use the events quite often, so I normally will only play this Terrible Tornado if I'm at least planning to during that turn, or sorry, not during that turn, during the next turn, go ahead and use an event, so that way I can just have a free 4K to swing with. And if not, we at least just have her as a nice body to have up front and as a nice raid trigger. But we're going to go ahead and get to the next card. It's going to be the 3 energy, 1 AP Hellish Blizzard. During your turn, if Terrible Tornado, the other sister, is on your front line, this character gains 1000. So just like the other card that we went over, this one's just like it, but it has a little bit more to it instead. When you play her, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 event card among them, and add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you added a card to your hand, place 1 card from your hand and put it into your sideline. So she's just like the other Hellish Blizzard right above, where you get to search the top 4. But with this one, instead of having to go ahead and throw an event card into your sideline if it was one of the cards you chose, it doesn't matter what card you choose, you just get to take one and then put it into your put the rest at the bottom of your deck. And then also just make sure you place 1 card from your hand and put it into your sideline too. She's going to have the color trigger. So for yellow, it's going to be choose 1 character on your opponent's front line, switch it to resting. It will remain set to resting. The next time it would be switched to active. So you just go ahead and get to freeze a character on your opponent's front line, as long as yeah, you pretty much just get to freeze something that's on your opponent's front line, and they just won't be able to get to stay active for a little bit. We're going to be running 4 of her because it's also the color trigger, so we're going to at least fill up all the colors as we can. It is a nice trigger to have too, just because it does freeze something. And she will also generate 2 energy for us as well, as long as she's on her energy line. And so now to get into our raid triggers, we're going to have the 4/1 Hellish Blizzard. I love this card a lot, honestly. This is my favorite card out of all the One Punch Man cards, even for red and green. I know it doesn't really have Saitama's power in there to have like at least a 10k swing or impact 3, damage 7, none of that stuff. But I think this is just interesting how she's played. You get to, pretty much when she's played, you draw 2 cards. She has to activate main if she's on their front line at least. Place 2 cards from your hand into your sideline, and then once per turn, choose one of the following. You get to either add an event card without a special trigger from your sideline and put it into your hand, or all the characters on your field will gain 1000 BP until the end of the turn. I like this character a lot because every time I've been able to play it, I've been able to get some pretty good swings in, at least 3 to 4 or even more. Actually, well, sorry, not even more. Just harder hits is what I meant to say. But yeah, pretty much we're going to be running 4 of her, so that way we have a better chance of hitting this raid trigger or raid character. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, with the fact that she has one of the abilities where you can choose to add an event card without a special from your sideline to your hand, if you had this Hellish Blizzard from earlier that you got to use, like it says, you have to place the event card into your sideline if you did choose that one. So for example, if you had played Hellish Blizzard early on, you get over here to play Hellish Blizzard again, but the raid target, now you get to go ahead, at least get 2 cards, and then go ahead and get ready to at least sideline 2 cards that you think you might not want. the way that I do, or I'll go ahead and explain at the very end of this entire deck list my personal opinion on how I chose to attack the other day. But yeah, if you activate the main ability, you can at least grab back any of these other events right here. And so one of my favorite ones to grab back is Hero, because if I need to extend my turn even longer, Hellish Blizzard allows me to do that. It's an event. Yes, you can stand up 2 AP for 1, but I mean, hey, I think it still works. An event is an event, so as long as you get to pull an event card out, one that you need, you can have this one where you stand up 2 AP. Use this one to search the top 7 to help yourself look for another one of the sisters, or both sisters, since you get to grab 2 of them. Or you can even just have this Let's Go. But we'll go over those events in a second. Let's finish talking about Hellish Blizzard. She's also a raid trigger, so if you pull her from your life, you get the option to choose if you want to go ahead and raid her or not. And then she's going to have 3000 BP to start out, and then she's also generating 1 energy for us as well. Our next and last character card is going to be Terrible Tornado, 4 energy, 1 AP. During your turn, if you used an event card this turn, this character gains Impact 1. Activate main. If on the front line, reduce the AP cost of the next event card you use from your hand this turn by 1. You can only activate this Terrible Tornado ability 1 time each turn. She's also got the raid trigger, so if you pull it from her life, you get to go ahead and choose the option if you would like to raid her or not. Then she's got 4000 BP, so a little bit stronger stronger than the sister, but then she's also generating 1 energy for us as well. We're going to be running 4 of her too, just because it gives us more options to raid. Because we're only really playing with the sisters, those are the only 2 characters we're going to be raiding with overall, so it doesn't really matter. Or I'll say it still does matter, just to at least keep them up there. You still at least can get that impact after you raid, so it still helps. But yeah, that's going to be it for the characters. So let's go ahead and get into the event sites and action point. Over here, we're going to start out with only 3 of these. It's going to be the 2-1 Let's Go. Choose 1 character from your front line. It gains 2000 BP until the end of the turn. If the chosen character is Hellish Blizzard, it also gains Impact plus 1. Not just Impact, but Impact plus 1, so that way you can add on to it if you choose to use more than one of these cards. And we'll get into why we like that in a little bit. It's got the active trigger, so choose a character on your front line, switch it to active, and it gains 3000 BP until the end of the turn. And that's going to be it for that one. Next event we're going to have is the 2-1 Esper Sisters. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Terrible Tornado and up to 1 Hellish Blizzard card among them and add them to your hand. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. It's going to have the draw trigger, so you get to draw a card if you pull it from life. I'm only choosing to have 3 of these because the fact that you get to go ahead and at least look through the top 7 cards of your deck, I would personally say you don't even probably need 3 of these. It helps just so that way you have a better chance of hitting it, but because of the Hellish Blizzard over here, that allows you to go ahead and at least bring out an event card that doesn't have special on it, and you get to go ahead and at least add it to your hand. I feel like with any of these events over here, you can honestly choose to have more or less, depending on how you personally like to play, or even what it's like at your local events or tournaments. But for me currently, I'm enjoying playing with at least 3 of them. Our next event card is going to be the 3-1 Psychic Power. Choose 1 character with 2000 BP or less on your opponent's front line and sideline it. If Terrible Tornado is on your field, add 1000 to the BP range of the character you may choose with this ability for each event card in your sideline. So pretty much to bring it back down, as long as you have some event cards in your hand, just add up however many events that are in your sideline, and as long as it is higher than the character that you're targeting on your opponent's front line, you'll be able to go ahead and sideline it. I like this special trigger just because it's a bit different than any of the other ones. I think it allows you to possibly get rid of Saitama. I don't think every single Saitama is able to honestly be sidelined by this special. For the most part, I believe most Saitamas have it to where you can't be chosen, or you can't choose any character abilities or cards to target that Saitama to sideline it. I think for the most part, you just have to try your best to win and play around them. But I do still like playing with special triggers just to make sure that they're in my life, so if my opponent hits, then I get to choose a character on their front line and sideline it. So I still like having those. And then our next event is going to be our 3-1 Hero. Choose up to 2 AP cards and switch them to active. It's also going to be the final trigger. So as any final trigger, if it's the last card in your life, place the top card of your deck into your life area. And we'll be running 4 of those as well. And for our last and final card, we're going to be running 3-1 the Blizzard Bunch. It's a site card. Play this site set to active on your field. The activate main ability is switch to resting. You can only activate this ability if you use an event card this turn. This character all characters on your field gain 1000 BP until the end of the turn. And so it's also got the get trigger, so if you pull it from life, you get to add the card to your hand, and then it's going to also generate 1 energy for you on the energy line. And so yeah, that's going to be it for the Hellish Tornado Sisters. I believe that's what I decided to call it. Yeah, Hellish Tornado. And so, like I was saying before, I wanted to just go ahead and at least give you guys an example of how I like to play with this deck, honestly. It's a little bit different than how I like to make my videos, but I want to keep adding on, updating them. Sorry, not updating them, but like updating you guys with how I like to play personally, so that way, if you guys do have any tricks or tips for me, I can always go ahead and read into those and try my best to play it out that way. But yeah, the way I would say I like to play, if I'm able to get this Hellish Blizzard out ASAP, what I like to do, for what I did, for example, over the weekend, I had just got ready to raid with this Hellish Blizzard. Went ahead, played her, got my 2 cards, sidelined 2 cards that I didn't feel like I really needed. But at least one of the cards that I chose to sideline was one of these Let's Go. The only reason I chose to do that was because I already had one of them in hand as well. And so what I chose to do was I went ahead, I played down this I played down Let's Go. So that's already going to be 1 AP. And then I get to go ahead, add 2000 BP and impact onto Hellish Blizzard, because that's of course the character I'm going to choose at the moment. And because I already had played Hellish Blizzard, sorry, let me start that over. The way that I like to play them is honestly by making sure I at least have the Let's Go in hand. Then I have at least have Hellish Blizzard as well, and then possibly another Let's Go. And so the way I would say that I like to honestly go about it, we'll go ahead and have the Hellish Blizzard already on field. So we'll go ahead, play her down. That's 1 AP. Get the 2 cards you need and throw 2 from your hand into the sideline. So one card that we're going to throw away to the sideline is going to be a Let's Go. And then any other card that's possibly in our deck, we'll go ahead and throw that away. And then as we already have the Let's Go in our sideline, we'll possibly have another Let's Go in the hand already. And so we've only spent 1 AP so far. We'll go ahead, spend our second AP, go ahead and play down the Let's Go. So now Hellish Blizzard gets up to 5000 BP and then also has Impact 1. But just to go ahead and add on to that too, we'll go ahead and for one of the abilities that you get to choose, instead of choosing to give everybody on the front line right now 1000 BP, we'll save that for another time. We'll go ahead and just choose another event card from our sideline and add it to our hand. And so what we'll do is, if we went ahead and threw away another Let's Go already, or even if you only have one, actually, you only really need one. Because as long as you have that one that you used and gave her the impact and 2000 BP, go ahead and activate that main ability, bring Let's Go back, and go ahead and pay that AP again to give Hellish Blizzard another 2000 BP with impact +1. So now she's going to be over here with 7000 BP and impact 2, which I think is pretty good. So yeah, if you're able to pull that off, I think that's really great. If you can even have 2 Hellish Blizzards on here and then activate that main ability twice, you can honestly just choose one Hellish Blizzard to constantly keep stacking impact onto. And so you can even go into impact 3 if you can even pull that off. But yeah, that's one of the ways that I really do like to play with this deck. I have a bunch of other options on how I like to play, but sorry if that was a bit of a tongue twister. Listening to that, I'm just trying to figure out the best way possible to explain it to you guys. Still pretty new to this whole deck situation, especially with One Punch Man being a bit different than any of the other sets. It took me a second to figure out how I wanted to make this video. This is honestly the second time recording it, because the first time I realized I wasn't reading the cards right, and after playing with him too, I realized I messed up on some things too. But if there's anything that you guys have that you would like to switch up from this deck, or you think could be better, or if you just have any opinions overall, please drop them in the comments below. I'm always open to everything and anything. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace out.